second date over a picnic. Unfortunately, we've had to abandon the biscuits. The biscuits are down here, so I can get you one, or I can get you one later. It's up to you.
One now.
You'd like one now?
Right.
The choices are hobnob, shortbread.
Oh, is it chocolate hobnob?
No. I should have got chocolate hobnob.
What are you doing? Shortbread hobnob.
Shortbread or custard cream.
I have a custard cream.
Yeah.
Two custard cream?
Of course you can.
That's pushing it. We started, by the way.
We've started. We are going.
Whoa. I'm having a race. Go, mate. Go, little buddy.
So, how is your Fringe going? How is it faring so far?
Pretty good. Mm-hmm. Woo. Oh, I want to leave it. I want to see what it does. Yeah, really good.
Okay, because last year you were here for the Hedgehog Dilemma. That was your show. Now, for me, that felt like it had a real message behind it. You know, it was about the Hedgehog Dilemma that you thought about. This one, is there not so much of a...
No message.
Do you prefer that?
You get different rewards from different shows. Like that show was... Last year's show meant a lot to me, and it was sort of my big story, you know, the one that I cared about the most in my heart, and so telling it was really important, and making it funny and that people liked it was important. And you know, critically it did very well and all of that stuff, and lots of people came and saw it, which is great. But I don't have to drag anything up every night for this, you know. I just turn on like, hey, want some jokes? Let's do some jokes, guys. You like jokes, I like jokes, am I right?
Is it a little bit about how weird it is to be a comedian?
Yeah, there's like a loose theme to it. Just the ridiculous nature of this job, and that's sort of articulated throughout the show in different ways. Then there's I never get away from all heavy themes. There's a little bit about my anxiety in there, and sort of how that sort of perpetuates itself, and symptoms of it, and blah blah blah. And then I talk a little bit about how I have a niece now. I've never had a niece, or a sense of responsibility. So there's sort of half of the show is about my anxiety, and then half the show is about my niece, with jokes all the way through in the structure of this being a ridiculous job.
And how is it ridiculous, specifically?
Just conceptually, everything about it. Like, the concept is that strangers pay to sit in a dark room and stare at a woman until she makes them laugh. That of itself is an unusual concept.
It's almost like a freak show imagery.
Yeah, it kind of is. Like, but the irony, well, it's not ironic, but it brings so much joy. But it is, when you take all the joy out of it, and just the definition is weird. It's very unusual. No, I see. And that's the main. I suppose that the very premise of it is very odd. Are there specific things within it as well, like you're somewhere and you don't know why you're there, or like that I have to introduce myself before I walk into the office, you know, like no one else has to do that. These are all jokes in the show that, you know, like funnier, so I don't want to give too much away, because I'll go, oh, you saw that on the, don't need to see anymore
on the picnic on the Fringe.
That very highly watched picnic on the, I don't know, it might be.
Yeah, I think it was just done quite well. Yeah, la-di-da. So you were saying also before how you make sure that you come up to Edinburgh with a show that is polished and is complete. You're sticking with that. This is a complete show that you've come up with.
So it's, I did some previews in London. This one, more than other ones, I haven't run this show in the same traditional manner as I have in previous years.
Okay, so it's almost like a creation that you've made for the Fringe. It's tailor-made.
Yes, and you know, frustratingly, 30 minutes of this show will never be seen in an Australian show, which shits me up the wall. Because 30 minutes is half an hour, it's gone.
Do you think that you'll kind of make a way of it living on? I don't know, write a blog or something so it can...
I'll do it, like I'll use the material, because it's a straight stand-up show, I can use the material in most clubs. Yeah. Oh
right, and that is how it works. You can look at a show and you think, oh okay, I can have that and I can have that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because if you write a show that has no club value whatsoever, which mind you, last year was close. I reckon maybe 10 minutes of the show, maybe 15 last year at a push, I could use in clubs from last year's show. And it doesn't feel wasteful, but it feels like That was a lot of work.
Is that sometimes the price you pay for putting deeply personal stuff in it?
No. All of my stuff is deeply personal. But when I can only speak for myself, doing something that has a narrative, a start, middle, finish, then yeah, you run the risk that you're not going to be able to translate that stuff into jonglers.
Is there a certain pleasure in writing something that doesn't have, jonglers is sometimes looked down upon, perhaps unfairly, but that you're writing something that is above that?
I don't know. I don't want to use the word above. It's just different environments. There's some stuff that works well at festival clubs, like festival gigs. My aim is that I could write something and that joke will work everywhere. That's obviously the aim.
You're not a snob about your audience.
I'll take anything, mate. I'll take anything I can get. No,
I think specifically at the Fringe, there's a certain level of jonglers aren't my audience.
Yeah, sure.
And that they are producing something that isn't that, and they're taking pleasure in doing something of their own.
Yeah, I mean, I as I said, I would like to combine as much as I can, but that just wasn't the case last year. And there's people that are really good at doing festivals that aren't necessarily good at doing clubs, and vice versa. There's people who are good at doing clubs, and they might not work as well as for an hour long in a festival. I don't know, but my aim is just that the dream is that I can do it all, kid. That's probably not the case, but that's the goal.
The maximum.
Yeah.
Maximum.
If I was an actor, I would say my super objective is to be able to play my jokes in every context.
So, where is your show? What's it called?
It's on at the Dairy Room, same time as last year, same room as last year, 10 p.m, Dairy Room, Underbelly Pasture, and it's called Irregardless.
So how does it feel to be in exactly the same place? Is it a bit weird?
No, it's perfect. It's that as soon as the festival finished, I called my producer last year and went, if I come back next year, I want the same time in the same room. I don't want to move. I love it.
So you found your home?
Yep.
Here at the Fringe?
Yep, 10 o'clock.
And it's
every
at the
night
Dairy Room.
at the Dairy Room.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming
Not
again.
at all.
Do you want another biscuit?
No, I'm going to go and have
You
some
all
lunch.
right?
Yeah.
Have some lunch.
You get a jacket though. You get a jacket and a scarf, young man.